Alright guys, welcome to the third episode of the Steam networking tutorial series in Godot. And right now we're just having a kind of a sped up video in the background of me just making the menu of the game. I thought this was not really too important for the networking process, so I just have it running in the background. I don't want to skip it completely, so you guys can watch what I'm doing if you want to. You can just skip ahead. There'll be an annotation in the video, so just go ahead and skip to the next part of the video, and we're going to be making the ability to to host the game, the ability to create a new lobby, and we'll add that, and we'll be able to see the ID of the lobby, and we'll be able to abandon the lobby if we don't want to be in it anymore, if we want to cancel the game. So that's going to be pretty neat. And right now I'm just going to let this run in the background. If you don't want to see it, there'll be an annotation to skip it. You can just skip to whatever it says right now in the video, and you don't have to watch it if you don't want to. So see you guys in a bit. Alright, so this is what the GUI looks like, and let me just quickly go through what I've made here. So, of course, we have the main node, then I made a GUI node, so we have all the menu stuff inside of one node. Might be useful at some point, just for, sorting stuff and making it look nice and neat. So, I've divided the menu into three sections. There's a join section, which is here. There's a host section here, and then there's a chat section down below. And they all have a background panel, they have a title label, they have the join section has a tree, which we're going to use for plopping in invites whenever you get an invite from a friend of yours on Steam. The invite is going to show here in the tree, and you'll be able to click on the invite and join that invite. Then I have a lot of buttons that we're going to use for, clicking the buttons, making new games and joining the games, and then I have some labels. Have a text field down here for chatting in the lobby, which we're going to add later, and then I have a rich text label as well for the chatting section. So it's pretty straightforward, nothing too fancy here. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to add the ability to create a lobby. So we're going to be using this button here. We're going to be changing some of the text here. Yeah. So let's just get to it. I'm actually just going to move these upwards a little bit, because I might have to write something on a line underneath. Alright, so what we're going to be doing is opening MonoDevelop, of course, and going to your solution. And of course we have our Steam Manager, but let's go ahead and actually make a new script. Oh yeah, and also I did add a new font, because the default font is pretty not so good looking. So there's this font called Baby Blue. Actually, let me just, because let me just credit this guy real quick. Credit him if using. His name is, what's his name called? Where does it say what his name is? Well, I'm using this font called Baby Blue, and I can't see what his name is, but this is the font I'm using. I credited the guy now, so I imported that font because I think it's just a little bit fancier. You don't have to do it. It's just for looking a little bit different than the different font the default font. Let's get back on track. Make a new script. This script is going to handle creating lobbies and joining lobbies. Okay, so both creating and joining lobbies. So I'm just gonna call it join host game.cs. If you have a better name, just go ahead and name it however you want. Okay, so that's C#. Let me just check my email real quick. I just had an email. Okay, that's not important. Okay, so let's create this. Save that real quick. Go in here. Join host game. Alright, really nice. So I'm just gonna delete all these things here because we don't need that. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is the boring stuff. We're going to reference all the buttons and delicious things that I've made. So first of all, we have a button called so I'm gonna be referencing everything we need inside of the host section now. So we have a button called let's just rename this continue button, and this should be called start hosting button. Okay, very nice. So we have a button called start hosting button. We need that, and we also need the status text, so that's a label, and that is called host section status. Okay, and then we have a continue game button. Whoopsie. Okay, continue game button. I think that's pretty much all we need for right now. So we're gonna add some stuff later, but I think that's pretty much all we need right now. Okay. So start hosting button is located at. Okay, so I'm gonna make a new node inside of here. I'm gonna call it scripts, and inside of this one, we're gonna make another node and call it join host game. And this is the node we're gonna be using to load our script to. Okay, so this script is attached to this node called join host game, and join host game's parent is called scripts, and therefore we need to say get parent get node and then GUI host section, and then the button is called start hosting button. As a button. Very nice. Host section status. That's a label. Okay, so again, get parent, get node, GUI, host section status. Get that as a label. And lastly, continue game button. Get parent, get node, GUI, host section, continue game button as button. Alright, so all that's referenced now. So the first thing that we're gonna want to do is program that as soon as the user clicks on this button right here, start hosting new game, we'll create a new lobby within Steam. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and check the signals for this and make a new signal pressed, and we're just gonna connect it to the join host script, of course. Connect. There we go. It's gonna open the default script editor, which we don't really want. Gonna go back to Mono Develop right here, paste that in. So what's gonna happen when we click on that button? Now, depending on if we want to create a lobby or cancel the lobby that we just created. We're gonna check for what the button is saying. This will make a little bit more sense later on, but for now we're gonna say if start hosting button text is equal to start hosting, and of course right now it is. Just else, and then we'll just ignore else for now. So then when that's done, we're gonna actually disable that button because we don't want the player to spam that button and make a ton of lobbies on Steam. Sorry for swearing. So we're gonna disable that button, and then we have the host section status text that we will make some text on this one, and we'll call that creating lobby. Very good. And after that, we're going to finally be using some networking stuff from the Steamworks library. So we're going to have to add the reference to the Steamworks library up here, and then attempt to create a new lobby. And we're going to do that by making a type of Steam API call T, or call it new lobby. Then inside of Steam matchmaking, there is a function called create lobby, and inside of create lobby we need to insert a lobby type and the maximum amount of members that we want inside of this lobby when it's created. So we are going to select the type here, and these are the 4 types that you can pick. And if you are not sure which one you want to use, then of course you can go to the Steamworks API, Steamworks documentation, just kind of read what's going on. So if I wanted to figure out what these different types of lobbies are, then I can go into the documentation and I can look for e-lobby type. Alright, so let me just search here. E-lobby type. Was that it? No, it wasn't. Okay. E-lobby type, and I found a link here, so if I click on that, it's going to explain the types of lobbies. So private is the only way to join the lobby is from an invite. Friends only, joinable by friends and invitees, but does not show up in the lobby list. Returned by search and visible to friends, and we have an invisible. Now, some of these, in this invisible one, I'm not sure what the f that is. Sorry, I just swore again. But we're gonna be using the friends only because in this game, at least, or game or demonstration, whatever you want to call it, we just want one friend to join us. We're not going to be making a kind of game mode where there are more players than 2. So we want to just take the friends only one. You could also do the private. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much the same thing. Friends only, joinable by friends and invitees. Private, the only way to join the lobby is from an invite. So yeah, pretty much the same thing in our scenario here. So I'm just gonna do friends only. Okay, so that also needs to know the maximum number of players, and in our case it's just going to be 2. So when the lobby has hit 2 players, no more players can join. Alrighty now, so we have actually made a new lobby now. So to get some feedback from Steam on whether the lobby was successfully created or not, we're going to have to make one of these callbacks that I talked about in one of the other episodes. I think it was the last episode. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the last one. So we're going to make a callback, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You make it by pretty much by making a variable in the beginning here. So we're going to make it protected. And the reason for it being protected, I actually don't know. So if you have any idea what the protected thing here does, I would be very glad to hear what you have to say on that. But this is what I've seen in. I went to GitHub and I saw what other people have been doing, and they they do a protected one, so I'll do it as well. But I don't know why it has to be protected. I don't know what it means, to be honest. So we make a callback called lobby created. That's the type of the callback, and we'll call it callback lobby created. Alright, and there's one more thing we have to do, and that's of course assigning it down here, just like all the other nodes that we have, except this is not a node, this is a callback. So callback, and I'll find the one that I created, which is here. Then that is equal to callback lobby created. No, that's wrong. Callback. Alright, let me just see here. Callback lobby created t dot create, and then on lobby created. This right here is going to be the name of the function that we're going to make for this callback to be attached to. So we're going to make it down here. I'm going to say private void on lobby created. Very good. Now this needs to contain a type of lobby created t, and we're going to call it entrance. Alright, so we made a callback, and the function of the callback is down here. So again, these callbacks are going to be running every frame because in Steam Manager we have the in the process function, we're going to decomment this again. So and at every frame we're checking for callbacks. So whenever someone whenever Steam detects that a lobby has been created, we are going to, what are we going to do here? Let me just think here on lobby created. Yeah, okay, so we're going to check if the lobby result is, okay, wait a second, yeah. Alright, so, wait a second here. Lobby created. This is, this makes no sense, of course. Let's call this lobby. Entrance will be coming later. Okay, so we call this one lobby. Okay, so now it makes sense. So we're gonna check if lobby me result is equal to e result k, this one right here. So this right here is, this checks if this lobby right here is the result of that. If that's okay, also meaning the lobby was successfully created, then what's gonna happen? Well, in that case, we are going to host, oh wait a second, host section status, we'll say text, and that would be lobby ID plus lobby mul Steam ID lobby plus, let's say, waiting for player to join. Okay. So now when we press the button and the start hosting button says start hosting, that's actually not what it says. It says start hosting new game. There we go. Then disable the button so we don't create any more, and set the status text to creating lobby. Then we're gonna try and make a new lobby, and when a lobby has been created, this callback of course checks whenever a lobby has been created, and then when that's positive, a lobby has been created, we are going to check if the result of the lobby was okay, that it was a success, and then the status text will say lobby ID is equal to the ID of a lobby, which is stored inside of lobby dot MUL Steam ID Lobby ID, Steam ID Lobby, sorry. And yeah, that makes sense. I think, well, we'll find out soon enough. However, if it was not successful, and I'm not sure why it wouldn't be, but of course you can read on the Steamworks API if you want to. Let's just try and see. So if we're going to find out why it wouldn't work, we can check for e-results. Okay, so let's try and search for that. E-results. That's not that one. E-result. Okay. So there's a lot of reasons why it couldn't make a lobby. Okay, yeah, a whole lot of reasons. So, for example, okay, result. Okay, that's the one we're checking first here. Success. 2, a generic failure, whatever that means. Your Steam client doesn't have a connection to the backend. Blah blah blah. There's a lot of reasons why it could be. So let's check else. If it isn't okay, if it wasn't a success, let's say host section status text is equal to failed to create lobby, new line, reason plus lobby, and we'll just put in the e-result. Okay, so it's gonna print a number, I think, one of these integers, and yeah, the player can't really use that for anything, but at least the player will know that there was a failure. It was a failure to create the lobby. Okay, so that is pretty good. Alright, so now what? Let's try and, you know what? Let's try and see if it works, right? Before we go on and try something more. Reload, I suppose. And that is attached to that. Alright, let's try and run it. Let's try and see what happens. Let's cross fingers. Okay. Start hosting new game. Let's see. Alright, it worked. Great. So the button is disabled now because we don't want to create a new game because we already did. And the ID of the lobby we just created is this long number. And now we're waiting for more players to join the lobby. Great. So it works. Everything we did works as it should. Now, let's just make a little bit more. Let's go ahead and let's make. All right. One thing that I would like to do is make a singleton. So let's make a new script and call it global. And this is going to contain some variables that we're going to need throughout the game. Just like the Steam manager, this has to be running at all times. Also, when changing scenes, we're going to make it a singleton. Global.cs, that's what we're going to call it. And let's go to project settings, auto load, find this, global, and add it as global. Very good. And let me just go in here, delete all this we don't need. And let's have one variable so far, just call a public bool playing as host. So whenever we have to in some way kind of detect if, because, you know, the player, doesn't matter if they're hosting the game or joining the game, the client is exactly the same. So we need to somehow detect if the player is playing as host or if the player is just joining a host that was already created. So we're gonna have a boolean in this singleton called playing as host that will be true or false depending on if you created the lobby or not. Okay. So let's just let's say global, and that global is equal to get node root. Whoopsie. Global. That's global. Very good. All right. So okay, that's pretty good, I think. We're gonna add another callback because when a lobby has been created you also automatically enter the lobby, and there's a callback for entering lobbies, so whenever someone enters a lobby, something's gonna happen. So let's make a new callback, protected callback, and what's this called? Can't remember. I think it's called lobby enter, yeah. Callback, lobby enter. Lobby entered, let's call it that. And just as the other one, callback, lobby entered is equal to callback, lobby enter t, create a new function called on lobby entered. Very good, and let's make that down here. And that takes a what does that take? A lobby enter t, and this is where we're gonna call it entrance, and I messed that up before because I put entrance up here, but that should be lobby. So we're calling this lobby enter t for entrance. I think that makes sense. At least you can call it whatever you think is best. Very nice. Okay, very good. This should. Why is that? Oh shit, spelled it wrong. There we go. Okay, very nice. So here, whenever you enter a lobby, we're gonna check if the player is playing as host or not. So if global playing as host, we're just gonna print you just entered lobby plus entrance, and the ID of the lobby that we just entered, and let's say as host. Alright, then else if not. So if you're not playing as hosts, we don't need the brackets. GD print you just entered lobby plus entrance, and else the ID lobby. Alright, that's good. So now whenever we enter a lobby, it's going to check if we created the lobby or didn't create the lobby. And we of course check this by seeing if playing as host is true or not in this singleton called global. However, we haven't actually defined whenever this should be true. And of course this has to be true whenever the result of creating a lobby is okay. So that would be global playing as host is equal to true. Alright then. Waiting for player to join. Alright, now so there's one more thing that I'd like to make, and that is maybe when you make a new lobby, you want to cancel the lobby. You're like, yeah, I don't want to play anymore. So there should be a way to cancel the lobby, alright? So we disabled the start hosting button, yeah. So whenever we make a new game, we're gonna disable that button, but when the lobby has been created, let's enable it again. Disable false, and then let's change the text to cancel hosting. And that is why I in the beginning made this if else condition, because else if start hosting button text is equal to cancel hosting, then something else has to happen than if it said start hosting new game. Alright, so we're gonna have to check what lobby we're in order to abandon the lobby again. So let's make a variable up here called cSteamID. This is the type of variable that stores an ID. This is ID for lobbies and ID for players. We're gonna be using this a bit more when we get into joining and writing to chatting with each other. But we have to make a type cSteamID variable, and we're gonna call it lobby ID. And whenever we enter a lobby, we create a lobby and it was successfully created. Let's say lobby ID is equal to the ID of the lobby that was just created. Not lobby ID, man. Steam ID lobby right there. And this is not gonna work because it needs to be a Steam ID. Whoopsie. That's pretty good. Alright now. So, that's done. Now what? Cancel hosting. So when we press the start hosting button and it says cancel hosting, then we want to abandon this lobby. So you do that by saying Steam matchmaking, and then it's called, what's it called? Leave lobby. And then this needs a lobby ID, and we stored that. So we're just gonna put in lobby ID. Oh, very good. And then we're gonna reset the menu so that the player can start a new host if he wants to do that. So start hosting button text is equal to start hosting a new game, and also the status text here, host section status text is equal to status idle. Alright, so this should actually work, I think. This should actually work. Failed to create lobby. I don't know if we're missing anything right now, but I don't think so. So let's see what happens if we try to run the game. Okay. I'm just gonna take the window a bit over here so we can see what's going on in the output box here. So let's try and start a new game. Alright, it created it. I can see the lobby ID, waiting for player to join, and here it says I entered the lobby as host, which is correct. I did join it as a host, I created it, so that works pretty good. Cancel hosting. That works pretty good. It works as it should. Now, this might be a little bit messy, so let's make some comments just stating what everything does. Yeah, this should just be yeah, let's make this section right here. Let's lobby creation. Very nice. These kind of speak for themselves when pressed on lobby created. Let's do has been created or failed to create. On lobby entered. Yeah. I mean, these are pretty self-explanatory, but let's just do it for the sake of making some comments. Alright. Now, we don't really need brackets on this one, because there's only one line of text. Alright. I think that's pretty good. So, that's it for this episode. We made a working... We added the ability to create a lobby, and we can see the lobby ID. So in the next episode, we are going to try and join this lobby that was just made, plopping the invitations into an invitation tree. Yeah, so that would be it for this episode. Consider leaving a like if you are learning new things, and then I'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.